What's up, Bulls Nation? You found yourselves locked on Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Tonight, we're breaking down the Bulls win over the Charlotte Hornets. No Lonzo? No problem. We still got this. Big night for DeMar, his fourth straight 30-point game. Coby White doing things back in the starting lineup in place of Ayo Dosunmu. We're breaking down all of that next on a fresh Locked On Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome in to Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host Big Dave Watson at BAWL Sports. Bow. And you can follow us at Locked On Bulls. Hit us up on that text to voicemail line 331-979-1369. Today's episode brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Well, welcome in as we're here live on YouTube on Wednesday night following the Bulls 121-109 win over the Hornets in Charlotte. Man, we got to start with DeMar DeRozan, Dave. We had a fourth straight 30-point game. He puts up 36 tonight after 45 and 38 against the Sixers and Suns on Sunday, Monday.
Yes.
This man, there was that one moment where he had, he was knocking down his mid-range shots. He's getting to the free throw line, but that one tough drive and lay-in he had at the bucket didn't get the call when he drew contact, but he got James Borrego to call a timeout. And after that play, DeRozan just kind of stood there and put his hands up, Maximus style. Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Could not be stopped tonight, Dave.
He is truly unbelievable. Just so special. You already said the points, but 13 of 19 shooting. And then said, I'm going to go ahead and go 3 or 4 from the three-point line. He doesn't shoot those like that. But, I mean, and the threes he hit, Matt, all of them he just steps into. You know what I mean? Like, with confidently, no hesitation. I'm stepping into this shot, and I don't care who's there. This is going up and it's going in. It's just phenomenal to watch him work. The footwork is incredible. The way he draws fouls, the amount of and ones he had tonight were awesome. You know what I mean? Like, they were so frustrated. You saw Miles Bridges get so frustrated guarding. You saw PJ Washington get frustrated. LaMelo, who's got, honestly, I underestimated how quick LaMelo's hands are. That dude's got some really, really, really quick hands. Seriously. So those blocks he gets and those steals, swift. But even he couldn't stop DeMar when he's trying to use those quick hands or anything like that. Like, it's just so special, and it feels good that he's wearing the colors of our favorite team, and he's doing it night after night. Keep in mind, Matt, he's a veteran. He's a little older, so he's coming in doing these are back-to-back games that he's doing these in, that he's running these stats down in. This is a serious gauntlet stretch. And Billy Donovan talked about that the game before. Like, I asked him, like, dude, do you need a rest? Like, do you need it? Like, let me know. I'll give it to you. No, obviously he doesn't. He's feeling good. And, man, it's just good to have him on the team. Seriously.
So our pal Mark K from Bulls HQ, if you aren't already, follow him on Twitter, MK Hoop. Shout out to our buddy Mark. Noted after DeRozan crossed that 30-point threshold tonight that this is just the third time in DeRozan's career where he has had 17 or more 30-point games in a single season. He did it in the 13-14 season when he had 17 30 or more point games. And then in the 16-17 season, still with the Raptors, 32 30 or more, 17 or more 30-point games. So right now you're looking at the fact that DeRozan has 17 30 or more point games. The Bulls have 27 games left to play, and he needs 15 more to make that mark of that previous season where he had 32 games where he scored 30 or more. Not easy, but certainly doable. You got to get 50. You got to get that 30-point mark in 15 of the Bulls' remaining 27 games. after watching DeMar in this recent stretch against Philly, against Phoenix, and then again tonight, I'm sitting here saying, oh, he's got that in the bag. And this is at age 32.
Yeah, bro.
Several
That's the
seasons
thing.
removed from the last time he did this.
Yeah. And his first year here, like age 32, and in your first year here in Chicago, where they said you wouldn't fit, where they said it was a terrible signing. He's just making so many people look silly, like out there, not just on the court, but the people who are writing this off the court. He's making everybody just look plain old fashioned silly. And the shots he hits, Matt, are depleting to the other team. You know, it's just
Right.
the way he does it, because you've played your best defense. You've done your best, and you still can't stop him. Like, you've used everything you've got. And he goes up with this footwork, and he's not jumping higher than you. You know what I mean? He's just using his body and his footwork. And I think Kendall Gill is the one who said it. His muscle memory. Like, he's like, how's he hitting these shots? He's like, it's just like muscle memory to him. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how this goes. You do this, and then the shot will go in. He doesn't even think about it. It's just reactionary to him. And it's just phenomenal to see, especially tonight, on a night where you needed to get a win. You needed a win against this Charlotte team, a team that, you know, you should beat, but you needed to get a win against them. And not only did he help them get the win, he helped them get a convincing win to give those guys, you know, a little spark, a little something to themselves, because the Bulls needed a convincing win. They didn't need another ink it out kind of thing. They needed to be convinced, and DeMar DeRozan led them right there.
Here's another fun DeRozan stat out there for y'all in Bulls Nation. This came from Casey Johnson between the third and fourth quarters against the Hornets on Wednesday. DeRozan's last 11 quarters, so the last, 2.75 games,
Okay.
116 points on 61.8% shooting from the field. And then he finished out that Hornets game with another 9 points in the fourth quarter. So if you do that math, over the last 3 games, per quarter, DeRozan is averaging over 10 points per quarter on 62% shooting.
Sheesh. That's
what do you say to that?
Seriously, what do you say to that? What do you say to something like that, man? You just have to be like, yep, that's an all-star starter. Yep, he's in the MVP conversation. Yep, he should be getting this. Can he get his Player of the Week award already? You know what I'm saying? Can his brother get that? Can we get him that so he can have that? I think he has one already. I think it's just time for another one, is what I'm saying. It's time for another one for him, man, because he's just been phenomenal. And he's been guarded by everybody. And I think that's what the thing is for me. Like, it's not like you can just sit there and say, you know what, he just took advantage, you know what I'm saying, of a lesser player tonight. It was a rookie guarding him. It was a smaller person guarding him. It was a guy who was slew of foot guarding him. It was a guy who couldn't jump guarding him. He's being guarded by all those people on all different possessions, and he's getting buckets on all of them. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. It was really funny when they did the between quarters sideline interview with, the Hornets coach, James Borrego, and he was asked about DeMar DeRozan and slowing him down. And he just kind of like let out this exasperated sigh and said, we're trying. But there is really not a whole lot defenses can do against DeMar DeRozan right now. There's really, really not much they can do. Colin on YouTube saying DeMar getting 30 is hardly even surprising anymore. It's not. It's really, really not. And Yavi Jessup on YouTube saying DeMar was looking like Zach from the 3. I mean, 3 of 4 from behind the 3-point line, Dave. Like you said earlier, it was also the way that he was just stepping into those threes confidently. And this is the first time since way back in November that DeMar had a game where he made 3 threes. And you're not looking for that every night from DeMar, obviously. The Bulls as a team shot very well from the 3-point line tonight. That was one of the reasons they won this game. The Hornets really struggled. I think the Hornets were like 13 of 43 from behind the 3-point line. But if DeMar's contributing to the Bulls' 3-point shooting, it's the cherry on top. We've got people in the YouTube comments saying, give some credit to Coby White. We're doing that. We're doing that right up next. But first, I mentioned at the top of the show, today's episode brought to you by BetOnline, which has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. As we near that big game on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, right around the corner. Everybody wants to get some bets in on Super Bowl Sunday. Where do you go? you go to betonline.net, which remains the best spot for all your sports scores and news this season. And it's not just football. It's not just the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl comes and goes, don't worry. Plenty more fun to be had.
Yep.
BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live real-time updates of current games. So don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
Ooh.
All right, Big Dave. I, on our previous episode, was having a little bit of a meltdown talking to you about Ayo Dosunmu being placed in concussion protocols, the fact that the Bulls are running out of bodies and I'm running out of faith. I had a Natalie Imbruglia moment a little bit, and here comes Coby White, whose role continues to fluctuate throughout this season. There was a great piece from Casey Johnson at NBC Sports Chicago on Wednesday afternoon talking to Coby about how he feels, where he is, his role on this team, whether or not he's going to be here after Thursday afternoon. And Coby saying, hey, man, I've been rolling with the punches all season long, starter, bench player. I just know that I come in there and I do what I do and what Billy wants me to do on a nightly basis. And he said, I believe I'm going to be here. I think he's right. But
I think he's right.
Once again tonight, the role changes for Coby White. Anytime through the course of his first 2.5 seasons with this Bulls team in the NBA, you think you've figured out what it is Coby White needs to do, that changes, and not because of him, but because of the circumstances around him. Ayo goes out into concussion protocol. Coby White inserted into the starting lineup. Not your boy Matt Thomas. I can't believe you even brought that up yesterday. What did you think about Coby and the game he had tonight?
I was just proud is a strong word because he's not my child. Saying anything like that, but I was just really happy for him in the way he played. And of course, he was playing at home as well, being from North Carolina, growing up there. I don't know if Roy Williams was in the house or not, but yeah, he was playing at home. He just looked different. And by different, he looked more under control than I remember him this season. And the way he scored, it was just a variety of ways. You know what I mean, Matt? The way he played. He had 3 assists, right? But he had 0 turnovers. He didn't have a turnover, and he handled the ball a lot. But the plays he was making on the offensive end, when he was cutting inside, that dribble where he split the double team, hit him with the Euro step, with that pass out to Troy Brown, who kicked it over to Zach for the 3-point shot. I honestly can't even tell you when I've seen him do something like that.
Yeah.
And it looked like he does that normally when he did that. I was like, wow, that's awesome. But you know what it was about, Matt? It was about that defense he was playing also.
Right.
He looked really good defensively. The block he had on LaMelo Ball when LaMelo blocked it and it turned into a turnover because LaMelo had to touch it. So Coby couldn't get the ball from him. That was an incredible play that he made. And
right.
I was reading people saying, man, it's time to start giving him, some credit on the defense. I wonder who's been doing that since November. This guy right here. I'm telling you.
This guy right here.
Telling you, man, the dude's defense has gotten so much better. And it was on display tonight. And I like how he said that, Matt, that, he's just rolling with the punches and doing anything that Billy Donovan wants him to do. And the last thing he said when I saw him talking at the end of the game, he was like, yeah, I'm doing all these different things, but I'm playing all the minutes. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing a bunch of minutes. He played 38 minutes tonight. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, I can't really complain. I'm on the floor. Like, what do you want? I'm doing what I want to do out here. So kudos to Coby White, man, because they could not have gotten this win without him and his level-headedness on both ends on the floor.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up that one drive and kick he had to then Troy, to then the swing pass to Zach in the first half. That was one of a few examples I saw from Coby tonight of just more comfortability and confidence doing sort of that, kneading and prodding and poking at the defense to see what's there and getting certain members of the defense to collapse on him and then making the right read and the right play. Whether it's him getting a good look at a floater and taking it himself or getting to the bucket for a lay-in or making the right dish and pass. And yes, he only had 3 assists tonight, but I think he had 3 or 4 hockey assists on top of that swing to Zach being one of them. And to me, it is a noticeable difference that should be commended with Coby compared to his first couple of seasons in the NBA, where we knew he had that head down breakaway speed when he was driving the ball from his days at UNC. But it always seemed to me like if Coby couldn't get the edge or couldn't get the right angle, or most often just faced a rim protector when he got to the hoop, he didn't really have a whole lot of other nuances to his game when he was trying to break down defenses. And now, tonight and throughout the season, you've seen ways in which Coby has improved the way that it's not just foot on the gas pedal, drive 100 miles an hour to the basket, and if it works, it great, and if it doesn't, oops, like lost possession. Right. He's needing and finding little different ways, like the crazy little floater he had. I want to say it was in the fourth quarter, where he just kind of poked around and got himself into the lane a little bit, and then saw a nifty little opportunity for a floater that went in. And I hate to say this because I hate him, but we just played his mentor Chris Paul and the Suns the other day. It reminds me of the way Chris Paul pokes and prods defenses when he's on the dribble. And I'm not comparing them at the same level, but I'm saying the ways in which Coby has adapted his role and his skill set as a ball handler, the nuances of the way that he has been a ball handler recently are markedly improved and more diversified than the early NBA Coby that we saw.
No, that's a great point, because like you said, like Chris Paul is also his mentor. Like Chris Paul is who he trains with in the offseason. So yeah.
And that's exactly what Chris Paul does.
That's a great point. The layup that I liked was the other one he did in the fourth quarter, where he cut and got to the basket and got it up before the timing of it, the way the layup was supposed to go. He got it up before you thought he was going to get it up, because you could, if you're timing, because you could see LaMelo kind of timing it of when to go up to block it. And Coby got it up before he took those 2 steps. He got it up right before you're supposed to take those 2 steps. He got that layup up and in. And that threw everything off of him. I said, oh my goodness, that's an IQ basketball play. That's exactly what that is, man. And so watching Coby out there thinking and the game slowing down for him and knowing who needs to be where, and also playing well off the ball too, because he did that as well. That's how he was getting his shots in the corner, because he was playing off the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's just knowing where to be in position like that. But man, it made me so proud, man, when they were breaking traps. You know what I'm saying? When they were trying to trap him in the back and they couldn't trap it with Coby or the rest of the team. They moved the ball. They kept getting it to other players when it needed to be. Coby was a part of that. You know what I mean? Like, your point guard was a part of that reason that they couldn't trap guys out there. That's a big, huge thing for this team, because they've struggled with that. And it's a big, huge thing for Coby White, who honestly they weren't giving that credit to, or I shouldn't say not giving the credit to, but he wasn't doing that in previous seasons. Like you just said, Matt, put his head down, blinders, tunnel vision, let's explode and see what happens. Oh, well, you know what I mean? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's more thinking out there.
And again, it's his willingness and ability to just adapt to whatever the situation calls for, playing when he came back from his offseason shoulder surgery, largely as an off-ball 2 guard, a catch and shoot guy who, we know that is an element of Coby's game that's always been there. But, when you got Lonzo out there, you got DeMar handling the ball a lot, Coby was largely playing off guard. And now, because of the situation, things have changed. Billy's like, Coby, I need you to play some point. In fact, tonight, I need you to play a lot of point. And he handles that adaptation in a way that I have felt is pretty impressive. And look, tonight, he was only 3 of 10 from behind the 3-point line. That's a lot of threes to take. You're okay with Coby taking that many. 3 of 10's okay. It's not great, but the fact that we're talking about anything other than Coby's 3-point shooting in itself is a good and impressive sign about where Coby's game is and how it's growing and how it's evolved.
Matt, real quick, I'm glad you brought that up, because he did one thing at 3-point line I loved. He took a 3-point shot and airballed it. He airballed it.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. They got the ball back. The very next play, he shot it again. And then the play after that, he shot it again. And then that one hit. He was like, okay, fine. It didn't matter to him that he airballed. He didn't even stop it. He didn't even stop to think about it. Nope, I'm going to do it again from the same spot. We'll see how it works this time out. I loved that. I really did. I loved it.
Yeah. All right. So a few other thoughts about the Bulls bench is it's tough right now. I want to talk about them, and I want to talk about where we are, less than 24 hours from the trade deadline now. But before we take this quick break, just want to throw this out there. We don't need to get into a whole conversation about it, but
okay,
Mr. Vooch, 18, 15, and 8, and 3 blocks. A near triple-double from your big man. Some of those passes Vooch was making tonight, man. From the paint, out of the pick and roll. I'm sorry. People who are still, did you see, I think it was our friends over at Bulls on Tap posted a picture on Twitter the other day of some idiot outside the United Center with like a little, 10 by 10 poster that said trade Vucevic.
I saw it.
Anybody out there who's still saying trade Vooch? Stop.
Who you gonna find that does this? Who? Did you see him free throw line extended and how the offense was running through him? That was reminiscent of Joakim Noah when he was the point center. Everything was free throw line extended for Joakim Noah. That's all I thought about when I was watching that. He drove to the bucket and was dishing it out to the corner for 3 points. What center's doing that? Who you got? If you can name me a center that's doing that, I guarantee you they're one of the best centers in the league. I guarantee you.
Is it that MVP candidate over in Denver?
Ding. Ding. That other MVP candidate in Philly. Ding. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who you name it when you see guys who do what he did, man. Phenomenal. Didn't even take a 3-point shot either. Didn't even take one.
Yeah,
phenomenal
that's great. Dude,
Phenomenal.
18, 15, and 8 dimes. I will take that every freaking night. From once again for the people in the back, your third option. Third. Not first, not second, third. Third option.
Come on, yo. Come on.
He was so I was watching ESPN back and forth between the NBC feed tonight. I watched NBC the ESPN halftime. Stephen A. Smith was giving Vooch shade. He's like, "Oh, love Zach LaVine, love DeMar. He's incredible. He's a star." Vooch the weak link. It's like, okay, Stephen A. Smith. Okay,
all right.
So you've watched a grand total of 24 minutes of Bulls basketball this season. All right.
I didn't watch any ESPN coverage. It's my first time not watching any ESPN coverage, and the Bulls won. So I wanted to switch it up.
Broke that nationally televised game curse they had going. All right, Big Dave, tell the people, sing to the people about all of the money saving opportunities at rockauto.com.
Oh, but first and foremost, please let me tell you about how, like Matt said, you can save yourself some money without even leaving your house. How about you stay in the crib? How about you put your keys down? How about you put your feet up and you grab your phone or you grab your laptop and you say, you know what? I don't want to spend 30, 50, or even 100% more for those same parts I could get at a chain store or car dealership. I want to work with a family-owned business that's been serving those do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. I want a site that's going to give me reliably low prices for every single customer and has all the parts that I need, like some brake parts, some tail lamps, some motor oil, or even some new carpet. I am going to go to rockauto.com. And when you get there, right, locked on in their How Did You Hear About Us section, so that you know, and they will know, that my man Matt Peck and yours truly sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Sing it so they hear you all the way in Charlotte. RockAuto.com. Oh! Little held that O on you, that one. I didn't
need just that little high and then low part. I need to put that on loop and just like play it to myself while I'm trying to fall asleep because as we roll along breaking down this Bulls win over the Hornets, shout out to BH in the comments on YouTube saying, "Hey, I'm watching the show all the way from Japan. Really enjoy watching every time." Shout out to you over there in Japan, holding it down for Bulls Nation.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
All right, so early on in this game, Big Dave, Bulls starting unit got out to a little bit of a shaky start, but then they got themselves gathered. And then Billy starts going to his bench, and you're like, okay, interesting. Malcolm Hill in before Matt Thomas, but then Matt Thomas still got out there for like the last minute and change of the first quarter and then bridged into early second quarter.
Right.
Then Matt Thomas checked out, and he did not check back in for the rest of the game.
He did not.
And I'm sifting through my Twitter feed throughout the game, and I just see all these Bulls fans where you're like, oh my God, Troy Brown Jr., absolute garbage. Tony Bradley, absolute garbage. Matt Thomas, get out of here. And along with that, we've only got so many hours left. Why haven't any of these guys been traded? And I'm sitting here saying, guys, do you think it's just like, I mean, I know the Kings exist, but generally speaking, you can't take your own cat stank piss garbage that you got lying around in like the corner of your laundry room and trade it for valuable NBA assets. Everybody wondering like whether or not this team's going to make a move between now and Thursday afternoon. Get rid of Tony Bradley. You got to trade Troy Brown Jr., Matt Thompson. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yes, they, by and large, that trio of players played pretty poorly tonight. Yeah. Troy Brown, bless his heart, managed to knock down a couple of threes. Matt Thomas hit his only three of the night. Bradley had like a bucket. Well, I think that people wondering if and how the Bulls can somehow turn that trio of players into a more useful bench rotation until some guys get healthy, you're living in a fantasy land.
Yeah, and then the guys who didn't even play, and Alfonso McKinney and Tyler Cook, you know what I'm saying, are sitting on the bench. Those guys aren't, world beaters either. But that's why they're on the bench. But Matt, here's my thing. And Troy Brown Jr., let me start with him. Because, he was, yuck. It was a tough game for Troy Brown Jr.
He blew 2 layups in one game.
He did. He blew 2 layups. That's ridiculous. I appreciated his resiliency because he was not playing well, but he hit some key 3-pointers, to end the game. He had some key ones, especially that one after they cut the lead to 11.
Right.
When he hit that 3 from that corner, the game was over. That ended the game right there. Stamp it, we're done. So I appreciated that from him. But he's going to play, guys, because this is what we're in right now. Matt Thomas, Matty Legend. I ain't got to speak on it. You saw the 3-point shot that he hit. But here's the reason that Matty Legend really wasn't out there. Is because the person I thought that was going to get some tick was Malcolm Hill. Malcolm Hill came in, and he was the best player off the bench for me. He was the best player, Matt. He's been doing the same thing since he's gotten here. Playing solid defense and hitting timely 3-point shots. That's really what he's been doing. And he'll hit like 2 of them a game, and then he'll clamp up whoever your best guard, whoever you got guarding them, he's going to get on all in their jersey. He was in the jersey of LaMelo for a second.
Right.
He was causing some real serious havoc and issues when they were trying to get to the lane, man. I love his base because you can't juke him out of it, man. And you can't push him, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. It's very strong, man. So I thought he did a great job off the bench. You're going to need him going forward. He's going to have to play.
I just, I'm trying to prepare Bulls fans for an underwhelming Thursday afternoon.
Okay.
And this Bulls bench right now is hard to watch. Like when that second unit came in there, you're like, oh, God, I hope the Bulls can come back. When the starters come back, they got to rebuild this lead because it's going to disappear with these bench players in there.
Yeah.
You want to see something funny tonight, Dave?
Sure.
Bulls starting 5 plus minus in this win against Charlotte. Zach plus 19, Coby plus 19, Vooch plus 19, Javonte Green plus 18, DeMar DeRozan, Mr. 36 points on the night, minus 8. You know why? Because Billy is making DeMar go out there and play with that second unit full of scrubs.
Yeah.
In those crossover minutes in Billy's rotation.
Yeah.
Malcolm Hill was a minus 10. Bradley was a minus 7. Thomas was a minus 7. Troy Brown Jr. was a plus 17, but that's just because he's occasionally allowed to play with the starters while DeRozan is resting.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's is not sustainable. And it's not just those plus minus minutes, but the minutes that were played by the starting unit tonight. You mentioned Coby White's 38.
Yeah.
DeRozan also 38. Vooch also 38. Javonte 34. Zach 40. 40.
With the bad back.
The All-Star break is coming, and the Bulls have a 4-game homestand between now and the break to finish it out. And they are all very winnable games.
Yes.
But you know that Billy Donovan is looking at what he has available right now and is like, I'm sorry, starters. You're playing 35 to 40. Because I sent Matt Thomas out there for 4 minutes tonight and said, oh, dear God, Matty, come back. Matty, come back. Matty, come back.
You can have a seat next to me. Yeah. Right on the bench. But you're right. I don't want to take away everything because you're dead on correct in everything you just said.
DeRozan was at -8.
I'm looking at it differently. I have to look at the things that they did to help get this victory for the Bulls, because they did do some things to help us win this game. And that's why I had to point out Malcolm Hill. I didn't even hate Tony Bradley tonight, honestly. I didn't think he did anything truly, truly bad. He was just Tony Bradley. He even took the jump shot I wanted him to take. Oh yeah, he missed everything.
You wanted him to take that?
It kept the flow it was the rhythm of the offense. He had to take that shot. I didn't mind him taking that shot, man. I would have been more mad if he pump faked it and then he's standing there, don't know what to do, because he messes up the rhythm and the flow of the offense. He took the shot that he was supposed to take. I didn't care that he bricked it. He took it and it kept the flow going, the other game and the offense. That was fine. Because I promise you've watched Wendell do that throughout the years, get to the top of the key, pump fake when he's supposed to do it, didn't know what to do, and then it's a turnover and something bad happens that way. He took the shot he was supposed to take. But he did exactly what he's doing. He's like, I'm big and this is what I'm going to do.
He also, after taking that shot, did not get back in transition.
No, he did not. It gave up a bucket. He surely did. He absolutely did. And you didn't see that happen again. Because I know Billy Donovan was like, look, man. All right. You see these guys on the bench? It's you. I got to put you back out there. All right. Now, don't do that no more. Get back on defense. You didn't see that again. His hustle was up. His effort was up. And I like that. All they can provide you off this bench, Matt, is effort and hopefully some points. And that's it. That's all you can really ask for until like a guy like Ayo comes back, when then Coby White can go back to the bench and then, give your bench some help there. And hopefully he'll be back in a few, because they say he's been in the group text and everything seems like it's going pretty okay for him within the concussion protocol. But yeah, Matt, like it's gonna look that bad. But as long as it looks bad in a win, I will completely take it. I promise you.
That is, by and large, the stat that matters is wins versus losses. It is interesting. I liked, for the most part, Malcolm Hill's 10 minutes tonight. I think he was engaged defensively.
Yeah.
It was funny, like Hubie Brown flipped out on some possession where LaMelo drove the ball at Malcolm Hill, and I thought Malcolm Hill D'd him up pretty solidly. And Hubie Brown was like, "I can't believe they didn't call foul on that." I was like, "Hubie, are your prescription glasses thick enough?"
Hey, leave Hubie alone.
But no, dude, I love Hubie. That's why I watched ESPN instead of NBC tonight, is because I freaking love Hubie. Been listening to that dude call NBA games since I was 2 feet tall.
Everybody has, yes.
But here's the thing: if Matt Thomas's only contribution out there is spreading the floor, making threes, and everything else about him is a giant unmitigated disaster, Malcolm Hill was 2 of 3 from behind the 3-point line tonight.
Yeah.
When Ayo comes back, knock on wood, hopefully soon, and then Coby slides back to that bench role, and Donovan keeps his rotation at 8 or maybe 9 guys, do we now see a firm replacement Malcolm Hill for Matt Thomas until we get some of these other guys back? Because based on what I've seen in this small sample recently, I would not be opposed to that. I really wouldn't.
You're gonna see him. Like I tweeted it out during the game. Like Malcolm Hill has definitely earned himself more playing time down the road. Like it's just what it is. We saw it. We see what it is. You won't see too many more Matty Legend 30-minute games. Like you just won't see that too much more. You're gonna see some of those minutes get delegated over to Malcolm Hill because of the length and, like you said, Matt, the 3-point shooting. So if he can provide the defense, which he's better at than Matty Legend, and he can provide that shooting, which is why Matt is even out there on the floor. Yeah, you got to put him out there on the floor, man. And I think it's a good decision to put him out there.
All right. Real quick before we get out of here, simple yes or no.
Sure.
Do the Bulls make a trade before the 2 p.m. Chicago time trade deadline on Thursday afternoon?
No.
I agree. I also believe the answer is no.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We will find out.
Find out. Buy out, baby. Buy out.
Buy out, baby. Buy out. Buy out, buy out, buy out. All right. Either
Wow.
way.
I just caught that. Okay, well done.
Either way, my guy Dave and I will be here for you to break it down after the fact. Trade or no trade, our Friday episode, and we'll probably end up dropping it early for y'all Thursday afternoon or evening after the deadline has passed. We will be here to break down whether or not the Bulls did anything or nothing. But as Dave said, the important point in the meantime, Bulls get a W. 34 wins on the season, and now they head home for a 4-game homestand before the All-Star break.
Come on, baby.
Boom! Hit us up on Twitter in the meantime. I'm at Bulls_Peck. Dave's at BAW, BAWL Sports. We are at Locked On Bulls, and that text to voicemail line is 331-979-1369. Hit that like button and subscribe to us on YouTube if you aren't already. We appreciate it. For Big Dave, I'm Matt. Love you, Bulls Nation. See Red.